What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Got a brother on from Kensington. Kenzo, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and let's talk about you.
Man, my name's Kenzo. Born and raised in Kensington, 34 years. Seeing everything Kensington got to offer, good, the bad, the ugly, not much good. But yeah, man, born and raised here, seen it all, bro.
I want to talk a little bit about your upbringing because you're from that area. What was your life like growing up?
Well, growing up, like going to school and all, it was very apparent that, there was a lot of drug issues going on. From walking to school, seeing needles all over the ground, people sleeping on the sidewalks and things like that. And of course, as a kid, you don't really know what, the specifics are of that. You just see needles. Oh, that's a needle. You really don't get it. But, as I came up in the schools that I went to, it was just like it was apparent that, like, yeah, this ain't the place to be. And I went to like 5 different elementary schools. We were constantly moving around. My mom did the best she could. I had a stepfather who was, addicted to drugs, and my mom had drug problems and things like that. So, like, I was pretty much born into the drug culture.
Talk about being born into the drug culture, right? What kind
Mhm.
of drugs were your parents doing back then?
Opiates. Um, my mom got my stepfather started on pain pills. Because they were going to doctors for back problems, things like that. And then just like everybody else's story, they got cut off. And they bought pills for a while, but everybody ends up going the cheaper route, and they were off to the races.
Talk about that, right? You talk about they're off to the races. When you were young and you see your parents getting high, do you realize that they're getting high? Is there a point where you're like, man, my parents, get high?
Now, I always thought my mom was tired, man. I'm like, man, mom's always tired. Like, she's always spending most of her time in bed and shit like that. And that allowed me to run the streets at a young age, and it just was like, I really didn't know what was going on until I hit about 13, when I started smoking weed myself, dabbling in pills here and there. Then I was like, oh, that's what she was going through. That was the reason. And it was just so accessible in that neighborhood that, pills, anything you can name, what I mean, is accessible in Kensington. And they did it all. They had a period to where they were smoking rocks, and it's just so accessible. You step out your front door and it's bam, right front and center in your face, and it's like it's pretty hard to avoid. You gotta have a lot of willpower, not to go down that road. And definitely can't have an addictive personality.
Let me ask you this, right?
Mhm.
As a kid, your parents are getting high. You ever get to the point where you're like, damn, I don't never want to be like that?
Well, I really didn't know the reason that we kept moving around. I thought we kept moving around to get to a better place, like to move into a better place. But once I started realizing that these places weren't better than the last places we were in, I started realizing why we were getting kicked out everywhere. It was because of the drug use and them not being able to pay rent. So then I started putting two and two together, like, what they're doing right now is the reason we're not living in a nice place, reason we're not living in a nice area. So it pretty much ravaged, my childhood and my mom and stepdad's life.
So let me, the reason I asked you that is because eventually we'll get into this. I know you start getting high when you get a little bit older or whatever. But the reason I asked you, did you ever look at your parents like, man, I ain't never going to be, getting high on dope. I ain't never going to do dope. You ever think that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I dabbled in pills and things like that, but it was just recreation at parties with my friends, this and that. And then I was like, yeah, and like, I never want to be like that. Like I want to have all the good things in life. And then I got a little older and started selling it, and I'm saying to myself, why are all these people spending every dime they got on this shit? Why are they, emptying out their life savings? Why are they selling everything they own? and I got curious. And but yeah, I would have never pictured myself going down that route because I seen the destruction it had on my neighborhood, in my own household. So if you would have told me at 13 years old, 14 years old that one day I would have went down that route, I would have told you were crazy and out of your mind.
Eventually, you do go down that road. I mean, how old are you, and how do you get introduced to that?
All right, so I was selling dope at 17. I started at 17. And like I said, man, I was making a lot of money. I was doing good. I moved out of my mom and them's house. And like I said, I had a million customers, and they're spending their last. They're asking me for deals. They're asking me for fronts and things like that. And I'm like, damn, you have no money at all. And it occurred to me they're spending all their money with me. Then I had a lot of people that were what we call in Philly boosters. They would go in the stores, steal shit, sell it to another store, and then come to me. So I'm like, man, why are all these people, doing this? So, curiosity kills the cat, and it definitely almost killed me. So started out with a half for $10 bag here, and then off to the races. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't know that I had a problem until it ran out, until I burnt every connect, until I went to war with a couple connects over the money I burned them for. And it was like, damn, I'm really stuck just like everybody else is right now.
You're out there in Kensington now, right? I mean, people have seen this. I actually went there. I don't know if you know that, but I went there, and honestly, bro, I was shocked. I've never seen nothing like. I thought my city was a horrible, horrible city. I love my city, but just horrible with violence. But when I went there, like you said, like there's not just one or two needles here or there. I mean, they're all over the place. People are
Yeah,
actively getting high in front of the police, shooting up in their neck. I'm like, yo, what the? I'm I'm just like, yo, this is absolutely crazy to even believe that a place like this exists in the United States. I was sitting in prison all them years. I would have never thought anything like that existed, where the cops don't even give a shit. So now
bro,
you're out there.
It's like Amsterdam on the wire, bro. It's like, how they got that that police free zone. Well, the whole neighborhood's like that. It's pretty crazy.
You're out there. What's your life like now that you're getting high, man? Are you out there homeless? Are you, laying out on the street, hanging out on a sidewalk? Does it ever get that bad?
Nah, no. Well, I went to jail for a robbery. I was sick one day. Like I said, I burned all my connects. We were going through it, and I had to do what I had to do, to get high. And I caught a robbery. I robbed this couple, and wound up getting caught for that. Um, and I was just out there, bro. Like I never went in the stores and to steal or nothing like that. It was just my thing was robberies. And once that caught up with me and went to jail, it's a mandatory detox. So I detoxed, and I'm like, all right, now I learned my lesson. I'm never gonna go through that again. But you start chasing that first feeling that you have. And I came home, went right back to what I was doing before.
Stop you
And
for a minute. Let me stop you for a minute.
yeah,
What's it like to be in the county jail and be dope sick, laying on the concrete? Like, oh, what's that? What's that like? Tell the people.
bro, like the first night, you're still pretty high. The from the second day to I say like 2.5, 3 weeks, it is a nightmare. You can't sleep. You're spinning in your rack. Like I couldn't sleep so bad. Like I actually had rug burns on my hips because I was just spinning in my rack, man. Like I wouldn't be able to fall asleep until like 6 in the morning. And then I would get like an hour and a half of sleep, and I'm gonna have to go through the day. So it was like, it's just a nightmare, and in State Road, that's what the jails are called in Philly. On State Road, like you gotta be primed as a warrior, especially as a white boy. Like and that's no position to be. Like if you're dope stick and weak and shit like that, you're a target. If you don't carry yourself well and things like that. So I fought it off. Like I fought it off. I had a cousin on the block, and he was like, "Man, you feel like shit, don't you?" I was like, "Nah, I'm good." So I hid it as best I could. But when I was in that cell at night, man, it was a nightmare, bro. It was a nightmare.
So what are them jails like over there in Philly, man? That county jail.
Man, it's crazy, bro. I mean, I can only speak for Philly, bro, but I can't see a county jail being much worse. And I've been all in all four of them. There's one called Pick, which is the worst on State Road. CFCF, DC, House of Corrections. I've been in them all. Um, on a block of 160 men, you might have five white dudes. Um, the most the most strength we ever had was 15, maybe 20. You know what I mean? So it's just like dudes are packing up left and right, going to PC just because a little pressure was applied, or they came out that first day when when the gates cracked and they look around and they're like, "Nah, this ain't for me, man." And they would check right in. And you know, like when we did have some solid numbers, like we would always stick together. And I was always one of the ones at the forefront of that. Like, listen, we don't have to go out like this. Like the rest of us are looking bad by this happening. So we would approach every dude coming on the block like, listen, like if you get your stuff stolen, this is how you're supposed to respond. Make an announcement. Don't just eat it. Things like that. And some dudes just weren't hearing us. The fear overcame them. So like I said, we were totally outnumbered. Like if you weren't showing strength, you were pretty much screwed, bro.
You say screw what are they doing? Beating up white dudes, taking your
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like first it starts out what we call cat burglar. Like when you go to chow, you come back, your shit's missing. And then that's when the observation takes place. They want to see how you respond. Like, and if you don't respond with an announcement or whatever, like if you come back and your shit's stolen, you say nothing, you're in for it, bro, because they feel like you're gonna accept that. Or if you go check in, like most of the times they just move you to another block, and pretty much everybody knows each other. Like it's North Philly, South Philly, Kensington, Badlands, which is pretty much Kensington, and that's it. So it's a small circle. So somebody will say you're on F2 and move to D1. Somebody say, yo, you get a white boy that came over yesterday? Oh yeah. Well, he's an easy target. Because a lot of the dudes in there, they're not getting money put on their books. So the only way they can survive in there is by robbing dudes they feel is soft. And it's always the white dude. Like I'll give you an example. Like there was this white dude. Well, let me start with this.
Sure.
So these two Muslims are fighting because one went into the other Muslim cell, took his stuff, and they're in the back of the block fighting over it. So this old head Muslim dude stops them from fighting and this and that. Says, "Yo, what the fuck are we doing, man? We need to start robbing these bitch ass white boys and these bitch ass Christian Puerto Ricans. We can't be doing this to each other. We need to start doing it to them." And that caused a little race war between us when we had about 15, 20 deep at this time, and the dude who said it, and then they grabbed his back and things like that. So that just goes to show you the regard that they hold, the reputation that we have in those jails. Like I seen a dude get stabbed up just for approaching the guard that he got his stuff stolen because she was so in deep with the inmates and she was, doing extra shit on the side that she wasn't supposed to be doing with them. And she wound up tipping them off and dude got stabbed and pick over. So like you got the guards against you, you got the inmates against you. It's just a hard deal being white in them jails, man.
I mean, hey, listen, man, jail is hard, prison is hard, but I
Oh,
mean,
no doubt.
and it depends on where you're at. You know what I mean? You you ever have to get busy in there yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to. You have to. Like I never got nothing stolen from me. Like I never got tried. Like it might have something to do with my size. Like I'm 6'4", over 220 pounds. Like but like times I was dope sick and things like that. Like I wasn't quite that heavy, but like I like my uncle's a warlock, a biker. So he taught me how to move in these situations from a young age, even before I was doing things that would get me locked up. So he would, teach me how to move, what to do, what not to do. He just schooled me on the game. So I came in there knowing how to move and shit like that. But yeah, man, like my first day in jail, I had to get down. I was watching TV and we get plastic chairs in our cell. So I brought my plastic chair out and I'm watching TV that's hanging from the ceiling. So I decide I'm getting bored of what's on TV. I decide to write a letter. So I get up, go to my cell, they give you pencils this big so you can't bang nobody out with it. So I grab it, I come back, and there's this black dude coming, and we meet at the chair at the same time, and we both grab it. I'm like, yo, bro, this is my chair. And he said, fuck you, white boy, ain't shit here yours. So I looked at him like, oh, yeah? All right, no problem. Now, mind you, this is a quarantine block. We only come out for 1 hour a day. We just came out. Dudes are on the phone trying to get bail. They're trying to talk to their girl, tell them where they're at. Because a lot of times you don't get phone calls at the district. You don't get phone calls until you're in the jail. So I'm like, all right. So I stand in my doorway and I'm staring at the dude. I'm staring at this dude in the back of his head, like, yo, as soon as they say going down, because I'm not gonna screw it up for the whole block. So anyway, they say going down. I walk the outer perimeter while he's dragging my chair to his cell. I say, yo, and then I just stole off him. Boom. I hit that dude so many times that dude that didn't know neither one of us said, yo, stop fucking hitting. Like, you know what I mean? So you gotta set that tone. And when I went to the hole, the captain asked me what happened. He said, what happened? I said, listen, I said, dude disrespected me. And I said, and if I let that happen, it's gonna continue to happen. I was straight up with him. And he was like, you know what? I get that. And he was a black captain. But it's universally obvious, bro.
You get out of that jail, but you're back on the streets in Kensington. How long before you get back out there and you're back on the dope? Is it immediately, or are you like, yo, I'm done?
Nah, I was always good for about 3 months. I was always good for about 3 months. I tried all the Suboxone things. I was never on methadone, things like that. But I would willpower it for 3 months. But I was always notorious for going on the run. Like if you see me from '05 to about 2016, I was on the run. You know what I mean? So I was good for 3 months, and then like I would start the cycle all over again. The pills, and then that would get too expensive. I'm working, too expensive, and then I would go straight back to that. The last time I haven't touched it in 8 years. Um, just I'm doing a bunch of positive things in my life right now, keeping other people off it, and but yeah, I was good for about 3 months until I started messing up again.
Right. So people know, man, you're a peer coach and all that now, right?
Yeah, I'm a peer recovery specialist at the community health center in Kensington. We do needle deposits, Narcan handouts, and things like that. Plus, I do 10 groups a month, and I got my own group to where we sit there, and I decided to do it because the couple times I went to NA meetings, man, I always tuned out the counselor because I'm the type of person, if you don't have firsthand knowledge of what I'm going through or what other people are going through, like I really don't want to hear what you got to say, honestly, like in those settings. So I'm like, you know what? As soon as I found out about the peer recovery specialist role, like if somebody that's actually been through that, I signed right up for it, man. I got my GED and I was full steam ahead with that, man. It's the happiest I've ever been in my life, like doing something like that. Really feel like I'm helping people.
Glad you're doing that. But we're gonna get into that too, though, because it is important. It's very important. But I want to ask you. You're out in Kensington. I know you said you went to war out there. I mean, you end up getting shot in Kensington, right? What happens?
Yeah.
When they shoot you out there?
All right. So a friend of mine calls me that he needs me to pick him up. So I pull up to Emerald and Allegheny, And he says he's moving out of this girl's house that he's been messing with. So I'm sitting out in the car. He goes in the house. He's taking a while. I hear arguing coming from out of the house. I'm sitting in the car. Now I had a habit of when I'm sitting parked somewhere, I keep my foot on the brake, which gives me the brake lights in the back. Next thing I got my car running. Next thing I know, she must have called somebody. Next thing I know, my car's getting lit up. I got my hand on the steering wheel, my right hand right here. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the wound and that's the surgery. I got titanium plate. So I got my hand on the steering wheel, back window is getting shot out. He comes to the side of my door. I lean to try to get out of the car when I'm getting shot in my ass. So I got shot in my hand and my ass. So I pull off. So I call him saying, yo, man, I had to get the fuck out of there while I'm on my way to the hospital. Come to find out, he was in there robbing this girl, and she wound up calling whoever the hell this guy was. I never even seen his face, but I seen him coming, all hoodied up, drawstring hoodie and shit like that. He wound up lighting my car up because he basically made me an accomplice to robbing a girl, which is something that, I ain't into robbing no females or nothing like that. But he called somebody. I don't know what happened to him. All I know is my car got shot up. I got shot twice, and I got the fuck up out of there. I ain't talked to that dude since.
Let me ask you this, you get shot. Are you thinking in the moment like, oh shit, I hope I don't die?
Nah, I mean, I know my hand was fucked up. The doctor said that if I wasn't holding the steering wheel, half my hand would have got blown off. But from holding the steering wheel, it kept the bullet from going all the way through my hand and probably taking half my hand off. But yeah, I was just worried about getting the fuck out of there. I got my back window shot out, my side window shot out, and I just got the fuck out of there. I don't know what happened to him. Like I said, never spoke to him again. But yeah, I was shook up, bro, because that was the only time I've been shot at or shot in my life.
Hit you with?
Hmm?
What kind of gun did he hit you with?
380. Which thank God it wasn't no 45, no shit like that. Cause I'll be talking to you with a stump right now. But yeah, it was bad enough. I had titanium plates in my shit, my screws and all that. And I got a crater in my ass about this big.
Don't show us, brother. Keep your pants on.
No, no, no. Nah,
There'll be
we will
mooning
keep
going on
it
here.
PG.
I'm just messing with you. But anyway, you get shot. Is that your turning point? Is that when you're finally like, I'm done with this? I'm done with this life. I'm done with Kensington, or no?
Nah, man. Nah, like I'm still here. I'm still, I'm still here. But I'm just a working man now, man. Like I haven't sold drugs, man. I haven't sold drugs since like 2011. I haven't done drugs in 8 years. My full focus is helping people, man. Trying to keep the kids off drugs and things like that. I got a YouTube channel giving advice to how to stay out of jail, how to stay clean. Like my memberships, like I talk to people, how to stay clean, kind of an extension of, what I do with my peer recovery specialist work. And that's basically what devoted my life to. I got my girl, I got my daughter, I got my stepson living with me. Like things are really good, man. Like I've been there, done that in the streets, and I got no desire to go back, bro.
What's the name of your YouTube channel so people know?
The Kenzo Files, Kenzo Files.
We'll put the link up and everything over there, right? And
I appreciate that.
we're gonna get into your rehabilitation and what you're doing a little more in depth in a second. But we do talk about Kensington. We talk about you getting shot. What are some of the craziest things you see when you were out there getting money or getting high?
Crazy. Just people, man. Like people OD'd on the sidewalk, cops and ambulances just driving by. People banging on the window like, yo, he's ODing, he's dying over here. Well, we didn't get the call. Like that's how normal it is in Kensington to see somebody laid out on the ground dying, probably in his last moments. Nobody's giving him Narcan. People are just walking around him. And you tell a cop or an ambulance, yo, he's probably going to check out. Well, we didn't get the call. Call 911 when an ambulance is right there. Just like, people getting robbed in broad daylight. People getting trying to cop and getting burnt in broad daylight, beat up, ran off the block, shot at. There's a certain feeling when people are about to, shoot it out, in Kensington. That comes with experience. I'm sure a lot of probably you and a lot of your viewers can relate to. It's a certain feeling in the air, just like the feeling in the air in prison when something's about to go down, when a fight's about to break out. There's an eerie feeling, man. Like everybody gathering up and things like that. It's just the Wild West, bro, man. Like I said, it used to be a nice Irish neighborhood. Like if I showed you pictures of Kensington, like you can Google them, man. I implore you to Google them and see how nice Kensington used to really be. Now, man, it's like the Wild West, man. It's got to be one of the worst neighborhoods out there. And there's a documentary out there called Philly Dope. I think National Geographic did it, man. And that just tells you everything you need to know about Kensington. It's disgusting. It really is. Like before, it was normal to me, but now having my head on straight, it's not normal.
Talk about being a recovery coach. Do you go into Kensington out on the street now?
Yeah. I go out on the street, get Narcan drives. We hand out Narcan, things like that. Some people take it, most people don't. They got needle deposits to where people can get fresh needles. I mean, that's not the greatest thing in the world because you still know they're gonna go out and shoot dope, but at least they won't catch AIDS or other types of diseases. It'll be, a fresh needle. I mean, when the best you can ask for is a fresh needle, there's a serious problem.
Let me ask you this. You're out there, you're on the street. What's the youngest person you ever seen out there getting high, bro?
12, 12 years old. And the youngest person I ever seen selling dope was like 6, 7, 8. Because dudes are out on the block. They're so afraid of getting locked up that they're in the house and they're sending these 6, 7, 8-year-olds out to serve. They get locked up. They're juveniles. I mean, they know not much is going to happen with them. So there's so much of cowards. It ain't like it was back in the day where we used to stand on the block and serve. They're sending little kids out to serve.
Ask you this. Peer recovery coach. What do you tell a 12-year-old that's out there getting high, man? What do you tell a
Well,
12?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't come in contact with someone that young. I think DCF gets involved with that.
Stop.
DHS.
I'm going to stop you.
Yeah.
Peer recovery coach. You don't
Yeah.
get kids that age. But let's pretend that you did. What would you tell a 12-year-old that's out there getting high?
Oh man. If he was in a group with us, I mean, I call out my group all the time. I would have each one of my guys and my girls tell their story and turn on and say, "Is that the type of life you really want to live? Like, is that because a lot of people are 40 years old, late 30s, late 20s, mid 20s. Like, is that where you want to be in 10 years, 20 years? I mean, and even though I'm desensitized to it, I still get shocked by what some people go through and have gone through. So I can imagine a 12-year-old would pick up on that pretty fast and hopefully scare some sense into him.
You spent about 10 and a half years of your life in prison.
Yeah,
I mean, how's it feel to be out now, to be free, to be able to walk around and help people? What do you feel like inside, Kenzo?
beautiful, man. It feels beautiful. Like all the shit I put my girl through. Um, all the times my daughter came in those facilities to visit me. The fact that I get to wake up every morning and come home at night every afternoon and see them without them having to worry about, like, is daddy coming home tonight? Being on the phone in prison. Daddy, when you coming home from work? Because we used to tell her, like, daddy's at work. She used to say, daddy, when you coming home from work? It feels great to not hear them questions. It feels it just feels amazing being a family man. Like, if you would have told me back when I was younger, like, you'll have a nice house, like white picket fence, like, I'll be like, man, that's not for me. But that's exactly what I'm looking for. And it takes a lot of time to really realize that and mature. You know how they say men mature like a little bit later. That's definitely true, man. 'Cause, being 35, like, I've definitely looked back on my life and all the foolish things I've done and said, man, how could I have did any of that shit? You know, how could I have ruined so many people's lives by giving them that shit, by giving them that poison? Just to make a couple dollars when I could have been working a 9 to 5 job.
What's your parents? Where are your parents? Where's your mom? Where's your stepfather?
My mom passed away in 2016, and my stepfather passed away the day my daughter was born. Um, my mom died from a brain aneurysm. Like I said, she had severe drug issues. My stepdad died from fentanyl. I don't know. They used to have these fentanyl patches, and people used to suck the gel out of them to get like 3 days worth of fentanyl that's supposed to go on your arm, but they used to suck the gel out of them and get it all at once. And he died on that and gabapentin. So, I've been without family for a long time.
You got your own family now, right? It feels good to have a family, to be a father, to be a husband, right?
Absolutely, man. It couldn't feel better. I'm not in touch with my mom or dad's side of the family and things like that, but I got all I need, man. My daughter, my girl, my stepson. That, that's everything I need. Like, I'm finally living the life that I should have chose to live a very long time ago.
You walk through that neighborhood, your old stomping grounds, the places where you were at getting high. Is there ever something inside you that you have to be like, oh man, I gotta don't go back?
Oh yeah, I hate it. I hate it with a passion, bro. And that's what I tell people in group, man. Like, you gotta learn to hate it. Like, if you don't hate it, like, I tell people this: if if the drugs you were using was a person and it cost you all the things that drug cost you, and took everything that drug took away from you, what would you do with that person? You would cut them out of your life. So what makes that any different? And a lot of people hear me on that. And I got a lot of people to turn around and say, "Yeah, man, you're right." And it's all self-inflicted. But, like, really, like, I really grew to hate it. Especially my stepfather dying from it. That hit close to home. I lost numerous friends just ODing, seeing people OD in my neighborhood all the time. How drugs have wrecked my neighborhood. Like, it's just like, this ain't normal.
Will Kensington ever be fixed?
I don't believe so. I mean, the city of Philadelphia has made it worse, even worse than it was 5 years ago, because there's a neighboring neighborhood called Fishtown, and it's what and they gentrified it, which means, like, they bring all the college students in and things like that. They cleaned that up and they pushed all the activity that was going on down in Fishtown, because Fishtown was a mini Kensington. So they moved it and pushed it all the way over to Kensington. So in between Fishtown and the Northeast, I don't think will ever be fixed. I just think they'll just keep pushing it north. And no, I don't believe Kensington will ever be fixed.
Let me ask you this. Me being from New York, I'm not from there. I went there. I actually had an older dude that I brought on the show. He was out there with us. Was I in danger out there and didn't know it?
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, when you're in that neighborhood, if you're a white dude now, you're looked at as a customer. If you're not looked at as a customer, you're looked at as a victim. You know, because if you dress like you dress and look how you look, and act how you act, you're looked at as, somebody that's not a junkie, that's not this, that's not that, you know. So if he's not that, he shouldn't be here. So, yeah, you were probably definitely in danger. I don't know how long you spent there, but I'm glad it wasn't too long.
Over there for a couple hours, man. You know what I mean? But and I seen people like looking at us, and I felt like there was a couple dudes that were kind of like checking us out, like plotting a little bit. Couple younger dudes, but
It might have looked at you like undercover too. So that might have been the reason they might not have stepped to you.
well, I'm glad we made it out. But listen, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on. You've been through some wild shit. You said some good, some good things. Maybe someone will pick up on that, and decide, hey, man, maybe this ain't the life that I want. But before we get ready to go, I will post all your stuff. Tell people to go check out your YouTube channel. Anything you want to say before we go?
All right, man. I appreciate you having me. I've been watching your channel for a while now. Like I really enjoy your content, how you cover all the bases of incarceration and let people know that it's not the place to be. And that's the type of thing that I'm trying to do. And I really just appreciate what you do. And anybody that needs to get help out there, man, get help. Because quality of life is so much better when you get that help.
I want people to maybe learn from you. You were out there, you were getting high, but you turned your life around. You're doing the right thing. You're living your best life. You're a father, you're a husband, and it feels good to be free. It feels good to be free from addiction, free from everything, right? And just be like, yo, this is it, man. This is life. And that's what life's about. So definitely appreciate you coming on. I'm going to tell people if you like what we're doing, you know what it is. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. With respect, until tomorrow, we're out.